I guess we're on. Yeah, Monday morning, guys. School, it's what, 7:30 in the morning here in Osaka. So, yeah, just the pictures of sunset here for where I've been. Anyways, just trying to get ready for school. Pack my lunch. Was doing a little bit of kanji. Heavy. That stuff's heavy, guys. It's heavy. It's heavy. It's heavy, heavy. Yeah. Anyways, just trying to stay focused. People that don't know, I'm mostly doing this for people that are interested in Japan or people that maybe think about coming here. I mean, you got to look at yourself in in different ways. I'd say for vacation, and it's hard to beat. It's like traveling to Europe and all that. It's great, but living here is a little different. It's not all roses. It's a different lifestyle, right? It's different everything. So for me, what happens to me is when I go to school for a week or 2 weeks and I get the little weekend and all that stuff. Yeah, it's fine. I get a little break and all that. But living here is intense, right? It's the big city. People are focused on their own little thing, and uh, they have a purpose or whatever. But it's not for guys like me that I know who I am. I'm kind of stuck here right now learning Japanese, right? I can't learn Japanese. Yeah, I did it online for a while, and I'm still doing a little bit of that to help out. But you have to listen to it. You have to be here. You have to live their life because this is where it's at, right? There's no other place in the world where they speak Japanese, right? South America, you can go to Australia, Europe, speak Japanese here. So to live here and do something here, you have to really commit, right? And it's hard. It's hard because you go to school, you do what they tell you to do, and then you get home, you take care of yourself, trying to make sense of all of it, and then you talk to your friends and all that are overseas, like in Canada or US or wherever my friends are at, and here human contact is a little difficult. So you get a lot of loneliness here. It's a lonely country if you don't really know a lot of people. I'm pretty extroverted, but I tend to shy Japanese away because my personality is too I wouldn't say dominant, but presence. Right? I have presence. So it makes it difficult to be here sometimes. A lot of loneliness. So I try to keep busy, right? I do little trips. And the trips for me are important because they get me sense of purpose, but also discovery, right? I'm trying to rediscover who I am, and it's not as simple as like, oh yeah, no problem, do what you got to do and stuff like that. Just want to pause this. This is my so this is what I see every morning when I get up. This is my window or balcony. So anyway, so being in Osaka is got his advantages and challenges, but it's it's like it's heavy for me. I come from countryside. I like greenery. I like small towns. I like to figure out what people are doing. Here, everybody does their own little thing and they scatter around in their little apartments and they go do their thing. You know, skittle everywhere. Anyways, it's a little different, but so because it's heavy and intense and you're right in the thick of it. Like you're in a mega city with lots of people, foreign culture, right? Familiar with it, but still living and learning every week. I'm learning new things, right? How to behave, where to go, what's new, food. So my comfort zone is not the same anymore. So I have to rebuild the comfort zone, and that's where it's difficult. So For me to get back to a bit of comfort, I travel. And not travel like to the tourist place. I just go to the countryside and just go. So this weekend I went to Toyota uh, and Kinosaki onsens and stuff like that. So the northern coast, straight up from here. And smaller towns, 75,000. That was the Toyota, but all the other small village are thousands, right? So small place. And it's green, and you get rivers, and you can do hikes, and you meet a lot of interesting people and people at workforce, and it's a different mentality, a different pace, right? So that helps me a lot because if I stay in Osaka and just stay here to do the grind and see concrete every day, and yeah, museums are nice, and music is nice, and arts, and and the food or whatever, but it to me doesn't inspire me. I don't find Osaka inspiring. I don't find city inspiring. So uh, I have to go and do stuff. Sports. So I do sports when I'm here. I do a lot of exercise. Go to the weight room. Go shoot around. Play ball. Walk. A lot of walking. So, but in the countryside, it's nice. You get your own pace. Take some pictures. Try different food. Go see the locals. Hang out in the local pubs or local restaurants or local gathering like cookouts or whatever they're doing, and just show up. And it's been kind of nice. Languages is still a challenge. So you have to discover who you are. I have to rediscover who I am, what I like to do, what I don't like to do, because everything I had in Florida is gone. Right? It's a different ballgame now. It's everything, the business, the contact, the grocery store, everything. So Monday is another day, and it's hard. This language is hard. I still have a hard time listening to it, because the phrases are different and the structure is different. So I have to really listen, and a lot of time they speak so fast. I have to tell them yukuri anashimasu kudasai. So it's basically please speak slowly or repeat, right? And because they they speak fast, and if you miss a few words, you have no clue what they're saying, right? It's you pick up a few words, but even that's not enough. So I do streams like that. Just it's almost like a record for me. People watch it, great. They don't. I don't care. Right. I'm doing this because it's also gives me records of where I am. I go through ups and downs here. Like it's hard. Right. And some days are better than others. Um, I'm not here to prove anything to anybody but myself. Right. Uh, I'm not here to change anything. I'm just trying to discover who I am. What are the things I can do and cannot do? And one of the things I tell all the players I train, and even my kids, is that you have to learn to be comfortable in the uncomfortable, right? So if you're on the basketball court and you're in pain and the game's not going your way, you got to find a way to be comfortable, right? Life is the same. You have to find a way to be comfortable in the uncomfortable and do your best you can with your tools, your means, or your knowledge. The intelligence to me is the is being able to adapt to a changing situation, right? So something changes, something happens, you have to adapt. And that's intelligence for me. And then if you have a lot of tools and skills, then you adapt faster and stuff like that. Here, I have a lot of skills, right? I have a lot. I'm not no. Here, I don't have a lot of skills because my skills in America, here in Japan, are not recognized, right? I speak French, I speak English, great, whatever. Um, but my skills in aquaculture, my skills in basketball training, my skills in living and mentoring kids has no value here, right? It has great value in US, but has no value here. I have, let's say, drone license for flying drones in the US. I don't have a license here. It doesn't apply here. So I have to redo the license. I have to redo the license for basketball. I have to go to class for basketball and then do courses for the next 2 to 3 years to get a certain level so that I can be hired as a coach, right? So even though I have decades, 30, 40 years of basketball, it doesn't matter. They don't care, right? So you can't. you have no value to them unless you speak Japanese. That's what makes everything hard here. So if you have skills in engineering, they want you to speak a certain level of Japanese, and that's not very attractive for anybody, right? They raise the level to N2. I'm trying to get to N5, right? By December, I should get N5, and then hopefully 6 months later to a year later, I get to N4, right? But I'm not going to go to school for 4 to 5 years to get to N2. That's not going to happen. I'm going to get it to a point where I can get a visa to work, and that's it. So I don't know how long that's going to be. I might be able to get something at N5, but I doubt it. I know it's probably going to be N4, and that's it, right? But things are changing a lot here, so it makes it difficult to see a future. So I have to stay positive, and staying positive by traveling, by meeting people, by seeing why I'm here, and discovering what I can take, right? What I can do, right? What I can adapt to and try, right? And then my biggest fear in life of anything is not trying, right? I don't care. I'm not afraid of anything, but I'm afraid of not trying. So if I don't do this all the way through, then, then I'll regret it one day, So the goal is to get to N5 right now, December, and is the test. So the test is only twice a year. I didn't do it in July, because I wasn't ready. There's no way. And I just got here, started learning to read. Now I'm doing better, but I have so many things to learn before I can get ready for the test. So, so I'll get the next 3 months of intensive Japanese trying to get going. I learned the kanji. I got to learn, make sure I get all my hiragana, katakana down, and I got to get my vocabulary up to like 1,500 words. I'm about 400 or 500 words right now. You know, if I really push it. So they want like 1,400, right? So vocabulary, right? So uh, I know quite a few, but a lot they don't come to me easy, right? I have to think about it, right? And when they're having a talk and they're talking to me, and some of these words go through, and I'm like, I don't remember what that is. What was he talking about? So some stuff is simple, the small talk. Where's the bathrooms and directions, and how much is, you buy a coffee, how much the coffee, blah blah blah. Direction, like what, the things like that. A bit of shopping, I can get by, but little things, right? But have a conversation explaining aquaculture and fish farming, explaining basketball drills to young kids, um, mentorship. Man, that's it's difficult. That's all. It's stuck. My knowledge doesn't translate, and so the best way to do that is to live here, right? And try to explain your stuff. But at the end of the day, you're stuck with the translator. But the translator, personally, they suck. They don't say what you want to say. They kind of like vaguely say what you want to say. So they can say what you want to say when you have little 3 word, 5 word sentences. But when you start to have a discussion, you have to like cut everything into small pieces and try to explain, and it's tedious. So I have to figure out a way to learn Japanese so I can, coach basketball in the future, take some tests for that, fly some drone, take some tests for that, and get classes for drone school is intense. So it's about, I looked into like 4 schools. There's schools here, a lot of schools for drone, but they don't have a lot of students because it's very expensive, right? So you're looking at 4,000 US, so it's not expensive for me so much, but it's expensive for them, right? So anyways, but it's still a 3 month class, and you get tested. The flying is easy, but it's everything else, right? They're learning all the rules and the laws of flying in Japan in Japanese, explain it in Japanese, write it in Japanese. Man, I am not even close to that, even in basketball. So they want me to take tests, certification, basketball certification. So I'm going to sign up for the first class, and I already went over it a little bit, and I'm like, man, that's a lot of texting, a lot of writing, a lot of talking, verbal tests, and so I can get by on a small question, but some question might be difficult. So, and explaining that in Japanese, explaining psychology of kids and basketball, and what you're trying to do in Japanese, right? So, whew, I can barely talk about myself, right? So um, yeah, so it is a challenge, right? I'm not afraid of challenge. So the first challenge is to be comfortable here in the uncomfortable. Find a way to stay the course, stay positive every day. Because there's days I just don't want to be here. And I tell myself, no, it's not too bad. You're okay. You get a roof over your head. You got this, you got that. So stay focused on the positive. Right now, looking for a job. I got an appointment this afternoon with school counselors to give me guidance on that. That is for resumes or what kind of job I can get, where I'm looking, because I'm just looking for part-time job. I don't care if it's going to be dishes or whatever, cutting vegetables. I don't care, right? Uh, just so I can hear Japanese, right? I just want to be surrounded so I can hear it because after school we don't really socialize that much, right? We socialize with each other, like the students and stuff, which I kind of disengage a little bit from that because I want to spend my time with Japanese so I can hear it. And but right now it's hard to go anywhere. So yeah, you can go out to a restaurant that costs money every time, and then you go out to drinking and go karaoke, and that costs money. And so it's not expensive, but if you do it like 2 or 3 times a week, it starts to add up, right? So I want to be more in a system where at least I get a little bit of pocket money and then listen to it. So these are the plans. That's the next step, right? Everything else is pretty settled. I got my little comfort zone here in the apartment, uh, and then I do my own stuff and trying to stay positive. So let me check the time. Oh, it's not too bad. So do 30 minutes this morning, and then get ready to take the bus, right? Not the bus, the train to school, and probably take a coffee on the way somewhere just to spruce up the energy, and then and go from there. So that's what I'm trying to do, and yeah, so I have a little bit of focus again because we had the vacation. So this was the summer break. So they just ended. It's a week. Vacations are weird here. They're not long. There's many of them. So, but there's no 2 weeks vacation. Very little. I think there's one. That's it. And then most of the time is for it's a week. It's not even 2 weeks, but that's like a week and a half. So it's school, right? You don't have a 3 month break like in the US or something like that, or 2 months. You don't have that. So, and in Christmas, there is no vacation at Christmas, right? You have one day off for Christmas, a couple of days off, New Year's, and that's it. So there's no break at Christmas. Uh, yeah. So it's kind of interesting to see all that, like to completely be, even though I've looked at the schedule and I did all that, living it is a different story. So everything is a challenge here. So everything, my comfort zone is done, right? And right now I'm learning this stuff, right? This stuff. Right? So I'm learning that. So, and I do okay on some of it, but it gets hard, right? It gets hard, right? So, and I think the hardest thing is not like the language itself, is the reason to be here, right? Like, why am I here? Am I going to get a job? Am I going to be able to get a visa to stay here in the long term for a little bit? Um, I know I'll never be Japanese. I know that the time here is short. There's nothing permanent, right? And that makes it really hard too. So uh, when you're sedentary, like when you own a house or you have a business, you're there, right? And you got stability for the long run, and so you can make plans. The hard part here is it's almost impossible to make plans. So it's like you live day to day just to see where you're going, and so it gives you this feeling of like like you really have to focus, right? And you're in the game, but you're not sure the game is going to go keep going, right? Like you might just say, oh, you got to low and you got to leave, right? You don't have a visa, you got to leave. So it's hard to plan some long-term projects or something like that. And so there's no way of being here without a visa. That's it. But you could do Reliance Visa. They have one they're trying to do for 6 months or something like that. But the problem with that is renting a place to live here. It's very difficult, right? You can't just rent a place for 6 months. The only thing you can rent for 6 months is Airbnbs, right? Most of everything else is a year, but mostly, like right now, I'm renting, and I couldn't find anything under 2 years. So it's a 2 year lease, right? So then you get penalties if you don't do it, and it takes a while, and it's not that easy. I don't think you can get on freelance visa. I don't think you can get uh, permission to rent for 6 months, right? I don't think you can. I think it's you can't, right? So you're stuck with Airbnbs. And Airbnb is a lot more money, so it adds up, right? So that's one thing, and then there's a lot of things you don't get, right? So and then you got to leave, right? So you're starting something for 6 months, and then so it's a vacation. That's a long vacation. That's all it is. But you're not going to really incorporate in life. You're not going to be able to create stability, right? You're just going to come and go, and that's it, right? And which is fine. It depends on your stage of life. But for me, I'm looking for more stability. So sometimes I have to think ahead. So the goal for me is to stay here until I can get to N5, and let's see how it goes after that, right? If I don't see any positive development after that, then it'll be time to make a new change and go do something else, right? And at least I would have tried. That's the key. Try, right? I can't say I didn't. Can't say I didn't learn anything. I learned a lot. But so in the meantime, I gotta stay positive, trying to build contact, trying to build network. Um, yeah, you could do little jobs under the table, right? You can do little jobs under the table, but that doesn't get you a visa, right? That doesn't get you a visa. And then the other problem is also the having a job under the table, the government checks your income, right? So you have to have a source of income. And yeah, you get paid under the table and you don't put it in the bank and you get the money from the US to cover your expenses, you know. So things like that. Yeah, you could do stuff like that. But if you want to stay here long term, you have to prove that you can make money here and that you can, contribute to society and all that kind of stuff. So it's a catch 22. You have to show that you make money here, right? So there's nobody's going to give you a visa and then, oh, here's a visa and go do your stuff. That doesn't work. So the company has to say, yeah, he's productive, he's doing this, and he shows up at work, he's a good worker and stuff like that. So they're doing that at school, right? They check attendance, they check my homework, they take notes on everything. Uh, so it's going to be the same here as a worker, right? Yeah, if you don't show up at work, you may get your visa suspended and you just throw you out. So it doesn't make it easy to plan a future, right? I'm not saying it's not possible, but it is going to be a challenge. And that's why I have to stay positive and travel and keep recharge my batteries because staying in Osaka is too hard. Right? It's okay because I go to school 4 hours a day plus an hour or two of homework plus, you know, living here, shopping, groceries, training, keeping my sports going. But yeah, so whoever listens, peace. So thanks for listening. It was just basically a little bit of an introduction about myself and also where I'm going through. I've been here like 5 months now, and my birthday's in a few days. I'm actually 60 right now, so I'll be 61 in 2 days. Anyway, this doesn't matter. But like, I still got plenty of energy. I don't feel tired. I still exercise. I did Mount Fuji last year, and it's like 7 hours. So yeah, it's no problem, right? Energy is not a problem, and uh, I cook a lot of my own food. Not a big fan of Japanese food. I think they eat too many carbs, uh, way too many carbs. That's all you eat everywhere is carbs: rice, noodles, bread, pasta. Uh, carbs, right? So I can't eat carbs. I eat very little. So anyways, so I try to do the best I can, take care of myself, trying to figure out what is here, how people live, what they do, what's the future looking like, and trying to find a way to be here. right? That's the long-term goal. Uh, Probably not be able to be living here permanently for the next 5, 10, 20 years, whatever. But, I'll see what I can do one day at a time, one week at a time, and plan for short, how do you say, short goals, right? First goal is to learn Japanese, get the test, find a job, uh, trying to create networking so I can know people. So finding work or visas is going to be who you know, right? Like anywhere else. If you know the right people, you understand how things work, then getting a visa shouldn't be too much of a problem. Uh, might not be able to have a choice to where I'm living, but it's no big deal. Like I might be living in the South, might be living in the city, might be living in the countryside. I don't know. But so that's what makes it difficult to be here and to make plans, right? So it's not for everybody, right? Me, I like challenges. I give it a try and go from there, right? And go from there. We'll have fun. I'll have fun doing the stuff, and I'll keep you posted. And so, if anybody's got a question, that'd be great. Probably don't have much right now. I'm just going to look at my channel. Internet's okay here. It's spotty sometimes, and there we go. So trying to find my channel. Is anybody on here? So if I go live, wait a minute. Saturday evening. That was yesterday. Yeah. So yeah, there's nobody watching. So which is fine. Like it's in the U.S. right now. It'd be 7 at night. So in Florida for me, right? So it's 13 hours difference. So I'm trying to. I don't advertise really. I try to just do it for me and have records of what I go through. I did try to write a journal down, but I do express myself pretty well when it comes to talking. So and then so let's see. I'm just gonna check on something and then go from there, right? So yeah. So live. There you go. So yeah, and there's nobody on right now. So, but anyways, subscribe if you can. Peace. It's 9 o'clock, so I'm gonna get going. No, it's what time is it? Oh, 8 o'clock. That's right. So 8 o'clock. Sorry, 8 o'clock. So it's 7 o'clock in Florida. 7 o'clock in Canada, where my parents are in Quebec City. And then yeah, I don't miss the U.S. Like people ask me that. I don't really miss. I miss the comfort zone. I miss the friends mostly. I miss the little, the comfort zone, like the fun stuff, the basketball training, going to the countryside, this whatever the beaches, whatever like the little things, right? But there's little things here too. So everything here is good. It's good. It's just it's different, and it's just that it's hard to plan ahead. So yeah, I gotta just stay focused on doing my stuff and trying to create networking, trying to get to meet as many people as I can. Uh, and go from there. Japanese people, right? There's plenty of foreign students who can hang out to speak English, but I really need to get stuff done here, right? Give it a chance. Uh, and so I don't know where I'm going. All I know is I'm learning Japanese and go from there. So good day to you guys. We'll see you, and I'll keep you posted. Peace. Bye.